If you feel like you keep starting over, meal prep by Sunday, promise yourself you go to the gym and be good all week, but by Friday you already spiraled, this video is for you. Maybe you think that you just don't have enough discipline. Maybe you think that you're lazy or you're just not that type of person. Here's what I want you to know. You are not broken, you are just dysregulated. And that changes everything. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your old approach has never worked and why no amount of willpower, meal plans, or going all in on 75 hard will ever stick. And I'm going to walk you through my Reinvent Yourself formula, the exact framework that helped me to drop 20 kilos and that I now use to help women all over the world finally stop abandoning themselves. This is not about becoming more disciplined. It's about becoming someone completely different. Let's go. So let me take you back to where it all started for me. A whole year passed without realizing it. I gained 20 kilos. I was training twice a day. I was doing HIIT sessions in the morning and then I went back to the gym in the afternoon to do strength training. I was so convinced that if I just worked harder, then I would get the results and the weight will just fly off. I tried intermittent fasting, I tried low carb, I did keto, do 1300 calories. I skipped breakfast only to save calories at the end of the day. And I was being good all week. And every single weekend, I would lose control. I would have my last supper on Sunday before starting fresh on Monday. I'd wake up every morning and I would look in the mirror and seeing that puffy face that was staring back at me that I didn't even recognize anymore. I felt embarrassed and ashamed. Like I was just failing at something everyone else seemed to just do. And here's what I told myself. You're just not disciplined enough. You're lazy. You just have to work harder. You have no self-control. But I was wrong. I didn't have a discipline problem. I had an identity problem and my nervous system was stuck in survival mode, which meant no amount of pushing harder work was going to pay off. And the moment that I realized that, everything changed. All right, so let me walk you through the Reinvent Yourself formula. This is the exact framework I use to transform my life and what I teach within my program. There are 4 pillars: regulate, rebuild, redefine, and realign. And I'm going to break down every one of them right now. Here's what most people will tell you when you just can't stay consistent. Just plan better, just track your macros, just be more disciplined, just want it bad enough. And if you're like anything that I was, you've already tried all that. You've really pushed through challenges. You've restricted harder and you've punished yourself through all the extra workouts and it still didn't work. Because here's the truth that no one is talking about. If your nervous system doesn't feel safe, you will never ever stay consistent. If you are in survival mode, stressed, overwhelmed, running on empty, your brain will prioritize comfort over your goals every single time. And that is not a discipline problem, that's biology. And this video is not about forcing yourself to be more disciplined. It's about healing the reasons to why you couldn't stay consistent in the first place. So you can finally stop abandoning yourself and start being the woman you know you're always meant to be. The first pillar is called regulate, because you can't stay consistent in a body that doesn't feel safe. If your nervous system is dysregulated, you are constantly stuck in a fight or flight mode. If you're stressed, overwhelmed, anxious, your brain is not going to be focused on your fitness goals. It's just going to be focused on keeping you alive. And when you're in that state, your brain is going to try to look for the small little dopamine hits. You're going to emotionally eat. You're going to skip workouts because you're exhausted, and you're going to self-sabotage. Not because you're weak, but because your body is trying to survive. So the first step is to learn how to regulate your nervous system. And for me, this looked like going on walks without my phone and just to breathe and doing simple breath work like the 5-5-7 breath in between meals or when I felt anxious. It looked like dancing in the kitchen to release stored emotion instead of numbing out with food, and checking in with my body throughout the day, asking, what do I actually need in this moment? And I know it might sound too simple, but regulating your nervous system makes everything possible. And when I stopped trying to disciplined my way through dysregulation and started to actually calming my nervous system, that's when everything shifted. And regulation replaces overtraining to punish myself, perfectionism, shutting down, and giving up. The second pillar is rebuild. And this is all about rebuilding self-trust. Because here's what happens if you keep breaking the promises to yourself over and over and over again. You stop believing that you are capable of change. You say, I'm going to go to the gym 4 times this week. And by Wednesday, you've already skipped 2 days. And you tell yourself, see, you can't do this. I was right. I knew I couldn't do it. And every time you do that, you reinforce the belief, I can't trust myself. But self-trust is not built through massive, overwhelming goals. It's built through tiny, kept promises. So instead of saying, I'm going to work out and I'm going to meal prep and I'm going to drink a gallon of water every single day, you say, today, I'm going to have 1 glass of water when I wake up. That's it. And when you do it, you acknowledge it, you celebrate it, and you say, I did what I told myself that I would do. And then tomorrow you do it all over again. For me, rebuilding my self-trust looked like committing to 1 10-minute walk every single day, even when I didn't feel like doing it. Promised myself I would eat breakfast and actually doing it. Saying I would go to bed by 10 p.m. and closing down the lights by the time it hit 10. So these weren't huge life-changing habits, but every time I kept that simple promise, I slowly started to regain my self-trust. And I proved to myself that I am someone who follows through. And over time, that belief became my identity. And this is really the foundation of confidence, not motivation, not discipline, self-trust. Now, the third pillar is to redefine. And this is where we shift your identity. Because here's the truth, you are not lazy. You've just been conditioned to hustle or to numb. You've been taught that your worth is tied to how productive you are, that rest is weakness, and that you need to earn the right to take up space and rest. So you swing between these 2 extremes. Either you go all in, you restrict, you overtrain, and you push yourself into the ground, or you are completely shutting down, binging, skipping workouts, numbing out with food or with Netflix. There is like no middle ground, no really sustainable way of being. And here is what I learned. You can't hate yourself into a body that you love. You can't punish yourself into becoming the woman that you want to be. So instead of trying to force change through willpower, I started to redefining my identity. I stopped saying, I'm someone who can't be trusted around food. I'm someone who eventually always gives up. I am not that type of person. And I started saying, I am someone who keeps her promises to herself, even when it's hard. I am someone who trusts herself and makes choices that honors her body. And I'm someone who shows up even when she doesn't feel like it. And of course, at first, that felt like a lie because I didn't truly believe it yet. But I acted like her anyways. And every time I would make a decision, I would ask myself, what would the highest version of me that already has all she wants do right now? And I did that thing, even when I didn't feel like it, even when it was really uncomfortable, and even when I could feel my old identity starting to pull me back into old patterns. And slowly the gap between who I was and the woman that I was becoming, it closed. This is identity work, and it's the most powerful thing that you can do. The fourth pillar is realign. And this is about creating habits and systems that actually serve you, not shame you. Because here's what most people are trying to do. They follow someone else's plan. They follow someone else's workout routine or someone else's meal plan. And when that doesn't fit their life, they think that they are the problem. But you are not the problem, this system is. So instead of forcing yourself into a rigid structure that makes you miserable, you create one that adapts to you. And so for me, this looks like with food, learning how to eat in a way that feels good and that fuels my results. Not restricting, not tracking every single bite, and just understanding the basics: protein, carbs, fats, veggies, and building meals that actually make me feel full and satisfied. And yes, I still had my sweet treats and my wine. I just learned how to include them without having it to derail everything. And with movement, it was following a structured training program that I actually enjoyed. Not punishment cardio, not random workouts that I found on Instagram, but a real plan that built strength, that tracked progress, and that made me feel powerful. And with rest, learning that rest isn't lazy. It's actually very necessary. And sometimes resting would actually be the better option than trying to force myself into a workout when my body was just saying no. Because your habits should actually serve you, not shame you. And when you align your life with who you're becoming, staying consistent feels less as of a battle. It just literally becomes who you are. Now, I know that some of you might be thinking why this actually works. And here's the thing, your brain is wired to try to protect you. It wants to keep you alive, and it wants to keep you being consistent with who you believe you are. If you believe that you're someone who can't trust herself, who always fails, who's not capable of change, your brain will make sure that those actions are aligning with that belief. It's called identity-based behaviors, and that's backed by neuroscience. But the most beautiful part is that you can rewire it. And when you start acting like the person you're becoming, when you regulate your nervous system, rebuild self-trust, and redefine your identity, and realign those habits, your brain starts to believe, oh, this is who we are now. And that's when the shift becomes permanent. It's not about forcing change. It's about becoming someone new. And when you know to do that, the weight loss, the consistency, the confidence, it all follows naturally, because you're not just trying to achieve a goal anymore. You're trying to be who you are. Okay, so here's what I want you to do within the next 24 hours, because this video is not just about information, it's an invitation to start creating change. Grab a journal and do these 3 things. Journal out, what does your safe, consistent self look like? Now close your eyes and imagine that version of you who already has all she wants. How does she start her morning? How does she talk to herself? What does she no longer tolerate? Write it down and get specific. This is your future self. Number 2, I want you to choose one practice for your nervous system that you are going to repeat daily. Pick one thing from the regular pillar. A 10-minute walk without looking at your phone, the 5-5-7 breath work in between meals, dancing to a song when you feel stressed, or a body scan check before you go to bed. Just one. Commit to doing one every single day for this week. Number 3, I want you to write down one self-affirmation and say it in the mirror tonight. Something like, I'm someone who keeps promises to herself. I'm someone who trusts herself. I'm someone who shows up even when it's hard. Say it out loud, even if you don't believe it yet. Your brain is listening. And these 3 things, they will start the shift, I promise you. And listen, I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell me what part of the video hit you the hardest. What are you taking with you? Because I'm reading every single comment and I want to know where you're at. And if this resonated with you and you're thinking, I want to go deeper, I want more support, I want someone who will walk me through step by step. I guide women through this exact process within my Reinvent Yourself method. It's where we rebuild from the inside and out with a structure that actually feels good, with a community of women that actually get it, and with me personally supporting you every step of the way. If that sounds like something you need, DM me info on Instagram and I'll send you all the details of what that would look like for you specifically. No pressure, just an invitation that you don't have to do this alone. And before you go, I want you to remember something. Your next level doesn't require a new body. It requires a new relationship with your body. And you're not meant to be stuck in the same cycle, hating yourself and starting over every Monday. You are meant to reinvent, and that starts today. I'll see you in the next video. Keep going You've got this.